What's going on with Cracker Barrel? Listen, we're all watching, we're all aware, we all see the backlash that Cracker Barrel is undergoing thanks to the really piss poor decision of the CEO, whatever her name is. And, I know a lot of younger folks maybe that don't remember these types of things happening in the past. A lot of people, not just younger, I guess, a lot of people in general may be wondering what makes a company make such a very seemingly obviously poor decision that ends up costing millions and millions of dollars, and then sometimes it just tanks an entire business. What causes that to happen? So here's my theory. And by the way, this is far from the first time that something like this has happened. When I was younger, in 1985, Coca-Cola, I think probably the number one brand drink on earth, they came up with something called, I think it was called New Coke. And those that are older, I'm 63, so yeah, those that are my age and maybe a little bit younger will remember the absolute disaster. Coca-Cola was on top of the world financially, and they decided to come up with this new recipe, New Coke. It only lasted 72 days. The backlash was very similar to what's going on with Cracker Barrel, absent the politics, because wokeism had not yet been invented, at least overtly. So it was going on, but it was behind the scenes. So, we saw what happened with Bud Light. There's been numerous things, but the Coca-Cola one was perhaps, I feel like I got a sneeze coming on. I'm having a terrible allergy day, and I apologize if I sneeze, because I usually sneeze 3 times in a row. But there have just been countless disasters, and Coca-Cola was, I think, the worst in my lifetime, because it was atrocious. I was a big fan of Coca-Cola at the time, and the new Coke tasted like crap. I never met anybody that liked it. And the sales, the stocks, everything plummeted so hard that in 72 days, they reversed everything. Of course, they came up with Coca-Cola Classic. And I don't even know. I guess do they still have Coca? I guess now it's just called Coke again. But for years and years, you would have Coca-Cola Classic, Coke Classic. And what that was your cue that was back to the original recipe. So what's my theory on why these things happen? And here we go. Let's come back, fast forward to the Cracker Barrel CEO. Don't remember her name. So she's making $7 million a year. $7 million a year. I don't know when she got there, but I believe she's relatively new to the company. And she shows up, and let's just forget her. Let's just talk about a fictitious company. You have a product that is doing very well. Okay, it's been established, it's doing well, it's making tons of money. And you have, the board of directors and the CEOs up on top. Those people are making huge money. This lady, like I said, makes $7 million a year. Bad allergies today. So just imagine that you're in her position. Absent the politics, just take that out of it. The people that are making those kind of figures, that kind of money, they don't worry about things like paying their electric bill or, man, the transmission on my car's making a funny noise. That feeling that the majority of people have that are not millionaires and billionaires. Holy shit, man, if my transmission goes, I'm not going to be able to make my house payment because that's going to cost. Those are the types of things that we deal with. And when you get further down the line on in terms of hierarchy, the workers that are the backbone of any company, whether it's Coca-Cola or Cracker Barrel, I'm talking about the cooks, the people that are behind the counter, the people on their feet all day, the waitresses and waiters that bring the food. Those are the moving parts of the machine. That's what makes it work. They are the ones that have to worry about paying for daycare. They have to worry about this, that, and the other thing. They got to worry about clothes for the kids. You name it, you know what I'm talking about. Back up at the top of the pyramid in their multi-million-dollar mansions, these people are raking in money, but they don't really have the concerns that we have. They don't lose sleep over that kind of shit. So what do they think about? They have time. Their richness gives them time too much time because they're thinking about how can I make a difference? Because don't we all want to make a difference in life? Everybody wants to make some kind of leave a footprint. And when you become a millionaire, this is all my theory, by the way, I'm not a millionaire. I believe that you sit around and you think, because you're not worried about eating. So you're thinking, how can I make a change that's going to affect the world? Maybe they get into the whole environmental thing. And that's, I'm not knocking that. Who doesn't want a clean environment? But they end up, because they're stepping out of their expertise, yeah? They weren't hired to be the CEO of Coca-Cola or Cracker Barrel or Acme Widgets because they're because of their ability to want to turn the world into a nice green planet or leave a smaller carbon footprint. I don't believe that's why they were hired. I believe they were hired to run a company. But because, going back to, we all want to leave our footprint in this world and we want to feel relevant, that in order to do that, when you're in a group of people at the top of any pyramid, you have to make decisions. You have to make changes. And I'm talking about in their minds. And, those of us in the real world, we understand the concept of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Those at the top of the pyramid are like, I got to make my footprint. And let's just look at Cracker Barrel. The old cracker leaning on the Cracker Barrel, that's old. That's been around. That's tired. Let's make it modern. Let's get rid. Oh, why don't we throw in some LGBTQ missions and then some Black Lives Matters mission over here. And then we'll do this thing over here. That is such a crappy thing to do to a company that's functioning and bringing in good money. Because what they clearly they fail to realize this, those being at the top that make these dumb decisions, is when you focus and coddle one part of a society, you are pretty much shitting on the other part of society. This is the part that people miss. This is the part that actors, I still call them actors and actresses. This is why I can't stand these Hollywood types. Give me an example. You could pick anybody who's disappointing. Bruce Springsteen. Because it goes through the whole entertainment industry. Neil Young, people I loved Neil Young. I think I've talked about this on videos, man. I grew up, I could sing every lyric of every song Neil Young ever wrote, and now I wouldn't literally pee on him in a forest fire if I thought it would cool him down a little bit. I can't stand him. And this is all ties into the same type of shit that brought the Cracker Barrel down to the sewer level. Because just like that CEO, Neil Young, these Hollywood types, Sean Penn, another one that I personally knew and liked, and now I wouldn't walk 3 feet to look at him. I just can't stand him. And why is that? They don't understand, or they don't care, that when you're there to act, that's your job, okay? You're rich because you can pretend to do things that you really can't do or won't do. You're not going to be a cop at the low wage of a cop, but you can make a movie about being a cop and make millions and millions of dollars. But because you have that platform, because people eat popcorn and watch you, you somehow start to feel like you don't have to worry about eating, you don't have to worry about paying bills. So you're thinking, hey, I got a platform. People look at me. I'm going to change the world. But the fact of the matter is, when you're Neil Young or you're any of these people, Bruce Springsteen, once you pick a side politically, you alienate yourself from the other side. And that's not a smart thing to do when your whole livelihood depends on getting the most people to, what was that girl's name with the Disney thing? It's Hollywood Baby, and she screwed up Disney. The whole with the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. This is what I'm talking about. They're too ignorant to understand. People at the top, and even little young ones like that chick trying to crawl her way to the top. They're just too dense to understand that when you slap, or when you embrace one half of a political crowd, you're slapping the other half. There are people on YouTube that I love their work. I love the way they talk, but I have to look. Whenever I see what they're talking, I literally cringe a little bit. And I kind of listen, or I'll read the comments before I relax and listen to the video. Why? Because if they start going into the woke shit, I hate Trump derangement syndrome shit, I just turn them off. Can't watch them. I've unfollowed a lot of them because I can't deal with it. It's like I watch you because you talk about this, but now you got to talk about that, which, by the way, The country's divided. That's why when I was young, politics wasn't like, we didn't discuss it the way we're discussing it now. It was kind of a private matter because you can't make everybody agree on anything when it comes to politics. And if the mission of your career choice is to fill the house, fill the stadium, fill the internet with people that want to watch you and like you and agree with you, why would you separate half of that crowd? Okay, let's pretend that half of the country loves Trump and the other half hates him. Well, if you're an actor, don't you want both halves to be buying your tickets to watch your movies? I guess they get so rich, they just don't give a shit. Now the CEOs and all the stockholders, they care, but these other ones are just too dense. Like this Cracker Barrel chick. She has tanked Cracker Barrel. Now, of course, they came out with some stupid ass apology. And anybody that listens to these apologies, no matter whether they're from Cracker Barrel or they're from any company, you name it, and believes that these are authentic, you are sound asleep. These are people, they hire these companies. What do they call them? I'm having a hard time not sneezing, so it's hard to think here. The hell is the name of these? You know what I'm talking about. Put it in the comments. But they hire these companies that for tons of money will sit around and brainstorm with members of the company and work out a way to sell a believable apology. It's not authentic. It's a way to, hey, we heard what you said. We're always listening, and we don't always get it right. Gosh, but we're going to keep listening, and our real mission is to give you good biscuits and gravy. They don't give a crap about the apology or about you. It's all about money. I get it. That's why they're a business. But my point is, don't take these apologies serious at all. These are public relations companies that make huge money to come out and word craft statements from companies, and then the dumb people out there think that the CEO actually sat and wrote a freaking. Listen, nobody writes anything anymore. I got into a freaking, and this is the world we're in now. I got into a political back and forth with a friend of mine's brother-in-law, who is one of these guys that doesn't want to admit that he's a liberal. So he's like, I'm in the middle. He freaking guy is left as he makes freaking Che Guevara look like a freaking Trump. But he's in denial, and the point is we're going back and forth, and as I saw this is all through on Facebook, and I'm looking at this, and it dawns on me, I'm pretty slow, I'm old school, but it dawns on me that there's something going on here with the cadence of his responses, and lo and behold, it turned out I was 100% right. Every word that I was battling with this guy was him putting theories into Chat GPT. Hey, welcome to the world we're living in, Mike. I get it. But my point is, in my life, in my world, that's not an authentic communication. That's as authentic as the apology letters and statements from Cracker Barrel and all of these other companies, which means they're not authentic to me. I'm old school, and what you hear coming from me and what you get on my emails and what you get on my messenger, that actually comes from this head, complete with all the grammatical and spelling mistakes and everything else. Which, by the way, I just remembered that guy actually commented on that before I pegged him for using Chat GPT. Damn it, I just now thought of that, because he was like, I'm kind of amazed at your inability to put punctuation or your grammar, and I'm thinking to myself, well, yeah, because that's a real dude talking to you. That's a guy with big fingers trying to type on a freaking phone, and my thumb's hitting the wrong fucking punctuation. I mean, we all know that, right? Well, of course, his was pristine. The pristineness of his responses was one of the ways I figured out that I was arguing with a freaking AI, artificial intelligence. But I digress. The whole point of that was to remind others, people, you, me, that don't put too much weight on these apologies. Don't put too much weight on these statements. These are all gone through by teams of people, and now probably ChatGPT or some other version that's not even released to the general public yet. So that is my thought on the Cracker Barrel thing. Are they going to be able to recover? Look, I don't know. Personally, what do I think of Cracker Barrel before all of this shit? I think I liked going there because I liked the store. You know, I mean, it was cool, had a lot of cool shit. Overpriced, the stuff in the store, in my opinion. And, I went there because I love food and everybody's talking about the biscuits and gravy. This is, I couldn't eat it because it was way too salty for me. Now, maybe I just got a bad batch, but I never walked out of Cracker Barrel going, holy crap, that was the best meal I've ever had. I can think of a lot of other places that I've walked out of going, man, that was good. You think about it, days later, you're like, man, I got to go back there. That was good. Cracker Barrel, eh. But I don't want to ever see a business fail unless they are literally deciding as a business, not as one person, the CEO, but if the majority of that company wants to go woke, then I hope they go broke, because I don't I don't want to live in a world where restaurants are trying to help push and mold the beliefs of customers. That's why I don't watch football. That's why I don't watch sports. The minute people kneel for the national anthem, I ain't watching your game anymore. You're getting paid a lot of money to move a ball back and forth on a field. I don't need to hear your politics. I'm not interested. If you're going to shove them down my throat, it's just like my feelings about LGBT. I don't care what you do in your bedroom, but if you're going to put any pressure on me to hold your flag and to wear your banner, no, I'm going to get mad and I'm going to oppose you, because I may look like just some old dried up prune, but I can get freaky in the sheets, my friend. But you don't know what I do because I'm not putting it out there. It's not your business and it shouldn't be your concern. And I don't give a fuck what my neighbors are doing. Obviously, you can tell a lot about people. And I've had friends that have come out to me and say, hey, man, I'm gay and everything. Okay, that's great. I don't pass judgment. I honestly don't. But once you start shoving it down my throat and now I'm required to carry your banner, man, I'm going the opposite direction. And that goes for anything. Okay, just like Cracker Barrel. I wouldn't set foot in a Cracker Barrel again if I literally was on the Bataan Death March and I stumbled through an open door and they were giving away free meals. I'd just keep on walking. Okay, Bataan Death March, for you young people, you're going to have to Google that, because it's one of those jokes that I've had to wait 50 years before I could tell it without getting, in trouble. Too soon. Cracker Barrel, are they going to survive? Their only hope, in my opinion, is to literally fall on their sword. And how do you do it? Fire that chick. Just like the Coke dude. I don't know whatever happened to that guy, but I hope they fired him. Or just like the Bud Light thing. I'm not a beer drinker, but did they fire that guy? They need to hack this chick out of the company. They need to put whatever they took out back in, and they need to fall on their sword and have somebody come out without a script. If I was their PR person, I would say that, look, you don't need me. You need to go out on a video camera and literally just don't even think about it. Just come out. We screwed up. This is what I would do if I was at the top of Cracker Barrel. Hey, I don't know what got into us. We screwed up. We hired the wrong person. That person is gone. We apologize. Everything is going back to the way it was. And you know what? As an apology, everything is going to be half off for the next 30 days just to get business to come back in. That's what I would do. Are they going to do it? Probably not. They'll probably double down. I don't know what's going on because I don't watch the news every day. But I probably should have checked it out before I made this video. For all I know, they've already done that. But if they don't do something drastic like that, I think they're going to have a hard time recovering, just like Bud Light. Anyways, what are your thoughts? Hope you're all doing well. Take care.